Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to Mathematics with Shahab Yaqub. Now, in this particular video, we are focusing on sketching reciprocal functions. It's for O-level math, but equally good for AS and A-level math for P1 and P3. So now let's look at the syllabus. We are on topic 2. That's part of algebra and graphs, and the subtopic is 2.11. Recognize, sketch, and interpret. That is what we are focusing on. Recognize, sketch, and interpret graphs of the following. We already talked about linear function. We already talked about quadratic function. We talked about exponential function. And now I'm focusing on reciprocal function. And then also in another video, I'll be focusing on cubic. So let's talk about reciprocal function. So when we talk about reciprocal function, we are basically talking about this. And then we are focusing on this thing. That is y is equals to a constant over x plus n. And in the simplest term, when we talk about reciprocal, we are talking about this way. Y is equals to k over x. This is the concept of inverse proportionality. And then later on, we can add a constant over here. So let's focus on the basic idea. Y is inversely proportional to x. We write it like this. Y is equals to a constant over x. What do we mean by inverse proportionality? We mean that, let me write over here, x and y. If x increases, then y decreases. Similarly, if x decreases, therefore y increases. That's the first thing. And then if k is a positive constant, so if k is a positive constant, then if x is positive, that means y is positive. If x is negative, that means y is negative. So now this is the basic idea, plus one other basic idea that we need to take care of. That is 0 divided by any number is 0. You can also check it with your calculator. But any number divided by 0 is undefined. The calculator will give us a math error. That means if I have y is equals to 1 over x, if I write x as 0, y is 1 over 0, that is undefined. For our purposes, we also call it infinity. Similarly, when y is 0, therefore 1 over x is 0, therefore x is 1 over 0, therefore again x is undefined. So therefore, at these 2 points, when x is 0, y is undefined. So we have a vertical and a horizontal asymptote. So let me draw the x-axis. And similarly, let me draw the y-axis over here. So now let me grab an eraser and let me just cut some lines like this, make it dotted. So just like this. So our y-axis is a vertical asymptote. Our x-axis is a horizontal asymptote. The equation of x-axis is y is equals to 0 because all along the line, the y coordinate is 0. And y-axis, the vertical asymptote. So the equation is what? That is x is equals to 0 because all along the line, x is 0. So now let me just grab this thing and let me put it someplace else so that you can easily have a look at it. So now that is the basic idea. So when y is 0, that is the x-axis, that's the horizontal asymptote. So what is an asymptote? We talked about in the exponential curve. The curve approaches this line, but does not touch it. So how do you show it in a graph? We call it asymptote. HA stands for horizontal, and this is asymptote. And over here, VA, that is a vertical asymptote. So So when we draw the graph of this reciprocal function, which is also known as the inverse proportionality function. So there is a horizontal asymptote, which is the x-axis, which is y is equals to 0. And there is a vertical asymptote, which is the y-axis, which is x is equals to 0. There are no turning points in the reciprocal graph, y is equals to k over x, as they were in quadratics, and they will be in cubic. So now that is the basic idea. Let's talk about it. Fx is 1 over x. So let me grab this thing and let me draw the curve like this. That's how it would look like. When x increases, y decreases. When x decreases, y increases. When x is positive, y is positive. Got the idea? That is the first quadrant. And similarly, let me draw over here. That is how the graph of fx is 1 over x looks like. Very simple. Now, it doesn't make a difference if I write 1 over here, if I write a k over here, as long as k is a positive constant, that's how it would look like. Now, what happens if there is a negative sign on the outside? This is about, let me thin out the marker. This is reflection in x-axis. So therefore, this thing over here will go down. This thing will go down. This thing will go up. That is reflection in the x-axis. So therefore, let me grab a blue color for this thing. It goes like this. Let me make it more obvious. Let me make it even better, something like this. And this is just a sketch to give you the idea. Yes, we should label the asymptotes. So now that's an asymptote. That is over here, like this, and then over here, it's going that side, it's over here, it's over here. So therefore, x-axis, y is equals to 0, horizontal asymptote. X-axis, y is equals to 0, horizontal asymptote. Y-axis, x is equals to 0, vertical asymptote. And let me just change the order of this thing. So therefore, x is equals to 0, vertical asymptote. Y-axis, x is equals to 0, vertical asymptote. So that's how the graph is drawn. Fx is 2 over x, no change. It just becomes more steeper. Nothing changes as such. Still, let me draw it like this. Let me draw it like this. Make sure it does not cut the y-axis. Fx is minus 3 over x, the same thing, more steeper, but you cannot show steepness in a sketch. It's the same thing as before. This minus means reflection in x-axis. Fx is 1 over x square. Let me write at the top over here. This is not in 4024 syllabus, but just giving you the idea so that you are well aware what's the difference, because sometimes an inverse proportionality with a square comes. Now, when x is positive, x square is positive, therefore y is positive. So that is still over here. But when x is negative, x square becomes positive because of the squaring, and y is positive. So it's in this quadrant and in this quadrant. So therefore, let me draw over here. This goes like this. A little bit better. This goes like this, and that's how the graph is drawn. When there is a negative sign, what happens? It is reflected in x-axis like this. It is reflected in x-axis, but again, writing it over here, this is not officially part of 4024 syllabus, just to give you a basic idea. Now, fx is 1 over x plus 1. Now what happens? That the original one, let me have a look at the original one. That is 1 over x or k over x. So now the asymptote will rise up by 1 unit. So y is equals to 0. The new asymptote will be y is equals to 1. And from the perspective of the asymptote, we will draw the two curves. So now over here, let me draw the asymptote. So let me grab a purple marker. That is for this thing. That is this one. So therefore, let me draw this. This is y equals to 1. And from the perspective of this, draw the two curves. So it goes like this, it goes like this. Got the idea? It won't touch the asymptote. The asymptote itself is shifted. So now the new asymptote is what? Y is equals to 1. That is the horizontal asymptote. The y asymptote remains unchanged. The y asymptote can also be there, but not part of O-level syllabus because of what is written in the syllabus. Let me show you what's written in the syllabus. It says y is equals to m over x plus n. So this y is equals to n. That is the horizontal asymptote. They are not focusing on the change of vertical asymptote. That can also shift left or right, but wait for some time. Once you pass your O levels, you will study that in AS level math. 2 over x minus 1. What happens now? Now the asymptote is shifted 1 unit down. So that goes like this. So first draw the asymptote. And this is y is equals to -1. That is the horizontal asymptote. From the perspective, draw 2 over x. So again, over here, from the perspective, draw 2 over x. Let me draw it because it's just freehand. Okay. I think that is better. Got the idea? And minus 2 over x plus 1. So we know that minus 2 over x is like this and like this, and plus 1 means shift the asymptote 1 unit up. And shift the asymptote 2 units down. Let me first draw the asymptote. And let me label it. This is y. Let me just choose a black marker. This is y is equals to 1. That is the horizontal asymptote. The vertical asymptote is unchanged. That is x is equals to 0. That is x is equals to 0 over here. This is y is equals to -2. That is horizontal asymptote. This is vertical asymptote. This is vertical asymptote. Also, let me write over here. X is equals to 0, vertical asymptote. X is equals to 0, vertical asymptote. Got the idea? And now this has a minus in it. This has a minus in it. So let me draw this thing that goes like this. That goes like this. The same thing over here goes like this. Just like this. So that's how the reciprocal graphs are drawn, and that is the basic reality of it. Now let's look at these graphs. The first one is x minus 3. Just a quick review. So over here, write y is equals to mx plus c. M is +1, c is -3. Just draw a line in which the gradient is +1 and y-intercept is -3. Something like this. Let me make it thinner. Something like this. So just label this thing. This is -3 and gradient is +1. Y is 1 over x. So 1 over x will be drawn like this. Something like this. Something like this. As long as it's a curvature, it will make sense. Let me just erase the stroke. Like this. And make sure to label the asymptotes. This is y is equals to 0, horizontal asymptote. This is x is equals to 0. That is vertical asymptote. Got the idea? Another question. On the sketch, draw the graph of each function 2 over x. Again, it's the same thing as before. So 2 over x, first quadrant. And this quadrant, again, label this thing. That is y is equals to 0, horizontal asymptote, x is equals to 0, vertical asymptote. 2 raised to power of -x, that is 1 over, or there is no need of writing this. 2 raised to power of -x, this is a graph of decay. So let me choose this thing, and this goes like this. And yes, there is also an asymptote over here. This is y is equals to 0, only a horizontal asymptote. When x is 0, y is 2 raised to power of -0. That comes out to be 1. So the y-intercept is 0, 1. And the cubic thing, we will study in a different video. Which graph is this? This graph is that of a cubic. So let me just label it. It's cubic. And 1 over 2x. So don't be confused with that 1 over 2. Basically, this is y is equals to half divided by x. That looks better. So this constant over here, this is k. This is still a reciprocal graph. So let me draw this reciprocal graph over here like this, like this. And then over here, the horizontal asymptote, that is y is equals to 0, HA, and x is equals to 0, that is the vertical asymptote. A basic question, solve this equation. 1 over 2x is 2x, 1 over 2 into 1 over 2 is x squared. X squared is 1/4, therefore x is plus minus square root of 1/4, which comes out to be plus minus half. That means if they were asking this question as drawing a line y is equals to 2x, so if I draw y is equals to 2x, this is one point of intersection, this is another point of intersection. So x is equals to negative half, x is equals to positive half. And that's about it. The concept of reciprocal functions explained in great detail. Stay tuned for more content on mathematics with Shahab Yaqub.